Rafael Devers crushed yet another home run for the Boston Red Sox last night. Has he finally arrived?
You are Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Gabby Maljanian, former ESPN social media associate and current host of the Boston Balling podcast as well. And I am here to bring you the latest in all things Boston Red Sox Monday through Friday straight to your favorite podcast feed. And the best part, it's completely free. So you might as well continue to tune in because Locked On is your team every single day. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Welcome to the show. Happy Wednesday. The Red Sox pulled off a big win over the Blue Jays last night, and they definitely brought the offense as they pumped 5 home runs in the contest. One of those coming from Rafael Devers. He launched a 422-foot home run that traveled at 111 miles per hour. Really great to see him bringing his power the last few days. On today's show, I'm going to be talking about him and has he finally arrived this season. Wong made a rehab start in Worcester last night. I'm going to be talking a little bit about that as well. And also Red Sox prospect Marcelo Mayer, who won International League Player of the Week for this past week. So lots on deck for today's show. But Rafael Devers has been a story of the season for the Red Sox so far. And it's definitely been a lot of different types of conversations. At the beginning of the season, it was, is he completely done? Is he cooked? Why is he not hitting? Because at the beginning of the season, he had a really bad stretch going 0 for 19 to start the season. I mean, no joke that he was striking out and just couldn't make contact and looked completely lost at the plate. Totally uncharacteristic of Rafael Devers. Then he started to clean things up and went on an absolute tear and was batting .422 from April 2nd to April 7th. So after the first few games of the season in which he was significantly struggling, he just went on a complete tear after that to improve his batting average, but also a lot of his other metrics as well. And when you think about Rafael Devers, who crushed a home run last night, that's the version of Devers that we want to see. A guy who's hitting lots of home runs and is making an impact with his bat. Now, over the last 5 games, including last night's game, he went 6 for 21 with 3 home runs, which is a .286 batting average. But his on-base percentage has been .400. Because in last night's game, he went 1 for 4 with a walk as well. So in terms of his on-base percentage, that's a .400 on-base percentage in itself because he went 2 for 5 in terms of being on base because of the home run and the walk. He has been taking lots of walks lately because in his last 5 games, obviously, he has been hitting a little bit better, but from April 19th to 23rd, so that few game stretch prior to this last 5 games, over 15 at-bats in those 5 games. He batted just .067 with 1 hit, but 8 walks. So he's definitely showing lots of patience at the plate this year, and he is taking a good amount of walks. He's actually in the 95th percentile right now when it comes to walk percentage, and in strikeout percentage, he's in the 19th percentile, which is pretty bad. I mean, a lot of that is skewed because of the beginning of the season and the fact that he was just striking out nearly every at bat. So that number is going to be skewed a little bit for him in terms of where he's at there. But even with the fact that he's hitting a lot, he is still striking out a good amount. And part of that just comes with the territory. If you're a power hitter like that, who's constantly looking to hit the long ball, you are going to strike out more because naturally what you're looking for is a little bit too picky sometimes, and then you land yourself in a hole and forced to swing at pitches that you shouldn't be swinging at, and then you end up striking out. So if he ends up being a little bit less selective, then that could work out in his favor, because instead of approaching the at-bat with wanting to hit a home run every time, just making good contact should be more the approach. But it is the type of hitter Devers is. We're going to expect lots of power from him and lots of home runs from him. He's in the 98th percentile in terms of hard hit percentage, so he's obviously crushing baseballs, and 99th percentile for average exit velocity, which is the speed at which the bat hits the ball right away when it makes initial contact. So he's hitting the ball hard, and that's never been a question for him. And I really like the fact that he's been able to take his walks, because walks can be very impactful. It makes a pitcher work, and once you're on base, somebody else can get a hit that can put you into scoring position. Unfortunately, Devers is not very fast. He's only in the 23rd percentile for sprint speed, but nevertheless, he is good at making pitchers work. And guys who aren't afraid to take walks are going to be successful in this sport, because they're going to be the guys who the pitchers don't really want to pitch to, and if they don't really want to pitch to them, then they're forced to put them on base. And it's just fitting if Rafael Devers is already getting on base a lot. So it really could help rattle a pitcher if you're getting on base consistently, whether that's through a hit or a walk. And the biggest thing with Devers is you never know when he could just crush a 400-foot homer like he did last night. So opposing pitchers definitely are a little on edge when it comes to throwing to him. But overall, in his last 5 games, he's been batting .286. He has been consistent overall over the course of the season, because even after that really bad stretch to start the season, then he went on this huge tear, then he dropped back a little bit again, then he went up again, and then down again, and it's kind of been a little bit of a roller coaster for him over the first month of the season. But the biggest goal for Devers shouldn't be to focus on hitting home runs constantly. The focus for Devers should be to try to do what he can to work the pitch count and get on base, whether that means trying to draw a walk or recording more hits that are rolling through for a single, but just trying to make good contact. And if he's not making good contact because a pitcher isn't throwing strikes, then at least try to be patient at the plate and show that you're willing to take a walk. So some of the biggest things that stood out to me when looking at Devers' numbers this year, overall right now on the season, he is batting .217 with a .352 on base percentage and .417 slugging. So he is getting on base a good amount relative to how many hits he is getting, and that's a really valuable tool. He definitely could use some hits at a more frequent rate and less strikeouts, but expect to see some inconsistency from him because of the fact that there is a bit of a gray area between when he's getting on base and when he's not. There's kind of a big gap in terms of there's lots of strikeouts and there's lots of walks. He's not really finding a balance in between then. And then you'll have the home runs that he's hitting here and there. But that basically summarizes where he's at right now. Home run, strikeout, walk. Not really much of anything else. And if he can find a balance of starting to work other types of hits into his game, that's really going to work out in his favor down the road. Because if Devers is hitting more than home runs, that's a very dangerous hitter for opposing teams to deal with. Another thing to note when it comes to Devers, he's in the 84th percentile for chase percentage. So that's a positive too. That basically means he's not swinging at a lot of pitches that are outside the strike zone. So ever since the beginning of the season, that really hasn't been the issue. The swing selection per se hasn't been the issue. He just was behind on a lot of pitches and he just wasn't able to make contact. And now that he's starting to make harder contact in terms of the home runs, he has hit 3 homers in his last 5 games. So the power is definitely there and hopefully coming back. Has he finally arrived for the season? Let's hope so, because that is what Devers does best is provide that power in the Red Sox lineup that not every hitter provides. Not every Red Sox hitter can hit home runs at that consistent of a basis. So we need Devers to be able to do that. But overall, not chasing a lot, taking tons of walks, which is valuable, but definitely needs to improve on the swings and misses, and definitely needs to be a little bit more creative in terms of his approach at the plate, not trying to hit a home run every single time, but rather just focusing on a quality at bat that works the pitch count and gets him good contact. So hopefully moving forward, he keeps this up. I'd like to feel like he has finally arrived, and home run hitting Devers is the version of Devers that the Red Sox are paying and the version that we know and love. So we'll have to see how that plays out for the rest of the season moving forward. But coming up, Connor Wong made a rehab start with the Woo Sox on Tuesday night. So I'm going to be discussing that next. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery. Now I budget smarter and save more. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. You definitely want to know where all your money is going. It can be pretty scary if not, and you would not believe how much money I realized was actually going into those food delivery purchases. So now if we want to order food, we try to do pickup, and we just cut down on the number of days per week that we're doing takeout in general. And it really helps save money, and Monarch Money can really help control those finances of yours. So make sure that you invest in that. In talking about the Red Sox, has Rafael Devers finally arrived? Hopefully, he has hit a home run in each of the last 5 games 3 times in those games within that stretch. So he hasn't hit a home run in all of those games, but he has hit 3 home runs in the last 5 games. And that's very characteristic of Rafael Devers, showing his power. The biggest takeaway from Rafael Devers, really good at taking walks, really good at not swinging at pitches he shouldn't be swinging at, just needs to cut down on the strikeouts and needs to change his approach a little bit, not trying to hit a home run every time, because then we might see more productivity in terms of hits, because it's pretty much just strikeouts, hits in the home run fashion, and walks right now. Nothing really in between for him. So we want to find that happy medium to where he's still crushing home runs, but he's also able to get other types of hits, and he's cutting down on the swings and misses. So hopefully moving forward, he does that. But Connor Wong made a rehab start with the Woo Sox on Tuesday night. I was there, so I watched him hit and I watched him behind the plate. Definitely played pretty good defense behind the plate, was calling good pitches for Robert Stock, who was on the mound for the Woo Sox. And at the plate, he put together some pretty hard, good swings. He hit a sacrifice fly and another deep fly ball to center field. And he also hit a double in the 9th inning, which, by the way, this game got a little bit exciting in the 9th because the Woo Sox were down 4-2. And then Wong hit that double. And then Marcelo Mayer came up, who I'm actually going to be talking about a little bit later on the show. And so I said, okay, Mayer's up. We're down by 2 runs. He's the guy I would want up right now because he has been crushing it at the plate lately. Unfortunately, it ended in a strikeout, and the Woo Sox did not win the game. So that was an unfortunate ending, but it was good seeing Connor Wong out there. He also took a walk in the game. So a walk his first time up, a sacrifice fly, another deep fly ball that went for a fly out, and a double. So he definitely was putting together some hard swings when he was out there. And that's promising because if the Red Sox want to bring him back up, that's the type of thing he has to be doing, is showing that he can make hard contact with the baseball. And after his first rehab start in Worcester, he had talked about how he generally feels good hitting. it doesn't really hurt him when he's hitting and he feels like he's getting some good swings off. It's more a matter of the catching aspect of it. He still feels a little bit like he's not fully comfortable when it comes to the catching aspect of it and being behind the plate. And that's the biggest reason why he hasn't been activated by the Boston Red Sox yet. My guess is that, at least from what I'm hearing, he'll be with the Woo Sox for a couple more days before he gets called back up to the Boston Red Sox. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that he hasn't reached the comfort level that he wants to from a catching and defensive standpoint before he goes back up to the majors. But it's an interesting catching situation for the Red Sox right now because you have Carlos Narvaez and Blake Sabol up in the majors right now. Sabol was called up when Wong went on the injured list, so he'll go back down to AAA at that point, and Connor Wong will come back up to the majors with Carlos Narvaez resuming his role as the backup to Wong. Now, they still have Yasmani Grandal in AAA. He's somebody that I feel like the Red Sox kind of brought in temporarily, but I do think that there's possibility they end up wanting to keep him around in AAA because it is always good to have a veteran player, and a couple of the Woo Sox players have mentioned that it's nice to have a guy like that around who's been in the league for what feels like forever to be able to provide guidance to some of the younger players on this team. So I think Grandal provides value in that aspect. And if the Red Sox want a guy like that who could be a mentor in the clubhouse, he is somebody who definitely could be utilized in that way in Worcester. So you take Connor Wong, who's going to be coming back up to the majors. What should we expect from him? Now, he doesn't have a lot of offensive stats to really go off of for the season so far because of the fact that he has been injured. He's had 26 plate appearances and 23 at-bats. He has recorded 2 hits and hit 0 home runs and has 1 stolen base. 0.87 average, 192 on base percentage, and 0.87 slugging. So definitely was off to a very rough start at the plate before he went on the injured list. So in terms of his metrics for the season, there isn't really a whole lot to go off of. So we don't really know in terms of this season what he's going to do well and what he's not going to do well at the plate. But last year on offense, he definitely did provide a lot of sure power, and he was a guy who we saw be pretty consistent overall at the plate. And the biggest thing that I'm worried about with him is that in the second half of the season last year, he started to fizzle out a little bit because he had a very good first half offensively. And then it was almost like he dipped back into reality in the second half of the season. And my fear is because he's been hurt on top of starting off slow to start the season, he's going to come back up to the majors and he's not really going to be able to produce offensively at the level the Red Sox would want. And that's tough because Carlos Narvaez is not the best offensive catcher. He is more known for his defense, which I have explained on the show that when the Red Sox brought him here, his upside was his plus defense. He's a great guy to have behind the plate. He throws guys out who are trying to steal second. He makes a lot of really nice stops defensively behind the dish, but his offense doesn't really match what he provides defensively. Whereas with Connor Wong, his defense struggled last year, but he did provide an offensive spark in the lineup. Now, because of the fact that his offensive numbers were starting to decline a little bit in the second half of last season, my worry is that he's going to carry that over into this season when he comes back, especially since he did struggle to start the season, and that he's not going to be a guy who's going to be able to deliver as frequently offensively as Red Sox fans would want him to. Last year, he finished the season with a 280 batting average, 333 on base percentage, and 425 slugging, over 447 at-bats. He scored 54 runs, had 125 hits, and hit 13 home runs, and he also had 8 stolen bases. Last year was a good season for him. That 280 average actually was a number that went down based on his second half of the season. He was hitting very well in the first half. And the biggest thing for me that I want to see moving forward is, can he be consistent? Is that something that we are going to be able to see him do? Can he execute offensively when he comes back to the majors? The biggest thing that I saw from him in his rehab outing with the Woo Sox yesterday was that he was able to get the bat in that sweet spot and he was able to make good hard contact. Obviously, only one of them fell in for a hit, but he did drive in a run on the sacrifice fly, and he was putting together productive at-bats, and that's what we need. We don't need somebody who's going to hit a home run every at-bat, but we do need guys who are going to make an impact offensively and are going to have an impactful at-bat. And I still see an impactful at-bat as one that results in an out, but goes, 10 or 11 pitches, or working the pitch count and it resulting in a walk and you're still getting on base, but you made the pitcher work. Connor Wong was making the opposing pitcher work in his at-bats last night. And the other big thing that I noticed from him was that he wasn't really straining to hit anything, wasn't chasing anything crazy outside the zone, definitely had a good eye and awareness for a lot of the pitches that were being thrown to him. So overall, I definitely liked a lot of what I saw in terms of the power and where his swing was. I do worry still about his defense because he doesn't feel like he's comfortable enough with where his defense is at right now to return. And also on top of that, just the fact that he has struggled defensively. So what type of player is he really going to be when he gets called back up? It's really hard to say, and it's hard to determine exactly what type of player he's going to be, but I picture a player who will probably be average offensively and below average defensively. So while he won't be very bad, he won't necessarily be this offensive prowess that we saw from him in the first half of the season last year. I think he's a very average hitter. I think he's going to get the job done sometimes, but more often than not, he's not going to be able to make the type of contact that people want to see from him, and it's going to lead to frustration. And what does that mean for the Red Sox catching situation moving forward? Honestly, it makes it difficult because they don't really have a clear path or direction in terms of moving forward with the catching position. I have been impressed by Carlos Narvaez overall and what he has brought to the table here with this Boston Red Sox team. But if you're rolling with Narvaez and Wong and neither one is really making a lot happen on offense, then it's really hard to justify that being your catching tandem for the future. I'm not saying they should just up and trade Connor Wong, but I'm saying there is a lot of pressure on him to perform when he comes back. And based on what I saw in Worcester last night, if he swings like that, he will make a lot of hard contact when he gets back, but he does have to put together quality at-bats. That's going to be the biggest thing from him. And I feel like when he was hitting in Worcester, he was lacking just that big hit, that big ability to make a huge impact. He did have a double in the 9th inning, which was great to see, just snuck past the third base line. But I want to see him make more noise with the bat. I want to see him make more hard contact. So that's something that I'm going to be focusing on with Wong when he comes back, is can he make hard contact? Didn't really swing and miss at a lot of pitches because, again, he had that good eye when he was at the plate. But overall, more hard contact from Wong would be ideal. And speaking of Worcester, I already mentioned his name today, but Marcelo Mayer earned International League Player of the Week honors for this past week. So coming up, I'm going to be talking about him. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. Personally, I love the no shells variety. It's the perfect grab and go snack for busy days. Whether I'm snacking at my desk, on a road trip, or just need a quick protein boost, they're always my go-to. And if you love cracking open every shell for that satisfying crunch, the in-shell options are a classic favorite. Get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. These things are incredibly addicting. Ever since I started buying them at the store, I haven't stopped, and that'll be you. So definitely get them the next time you're at the grocery store. Marcelo Mayer has been tearing it up in Worcester and making a really good impression among the Woo Sox this year, has had very good performances at the plate and has showcased a lot of versatility offensively in terms of his ability and what he can do. And as a result, Mayer was named International League Player of the Week for the week of April 21st to 27th. The 22-year-old played in 6 games for the Woo Sox during that week and batted .450, going 9 for 20 with 3 doubles, 3 homers, 12 RBIs, and 7 runs scored. Among his home runs was a 445-foot blast to right center field in Game 2 of the Woo Sox doubleheader sweep of Syracuse on April 23rd at Polar Park. During the week, he played 3 games at shortstop, 1 game at second base, 1 at third base, and 1 as the designated hitter. So again, that's what I'm talking about with the versatility. Not only was he showing versatility with the bat, because he wasn't just hitting home runs, he was also hitting doubles and making other hard contact, but he also played every position within the infield besides first base. And he also DH. So that's something that the Red Sox definitely were told to have the Woo Sox play around with, is where can he play? Because perhaps they're maybe experimenting with another infield position for him besides shortstop for when he gets called back up. Shortstop is his position. I really don't think that he'll end up playing elsewhere, but the Red Sox might want to just see what the options are with him and see if it's possible for him to play another position. He is hitting very well. Over the course of the season so far, he leads all of professional baseball with 34 RBIs. Next closest in the minor leagues is infielder Ildemaro Vargas of the Reno Aces, which is the AAA affiliate of the Arizona Diamondbacks, who has 28 RBIs. San Francisco Giants DH Wilmer Flores leads Major League Baseball with 28 RBIs. Marcelo Mayer is hitting .280 overall on the season with 4 doubles, 7 home runs, which is second in the league behind Charlotte first baseman Tim Elko, who has 9 home runs. And also Marcelo has 51 total bases, which is tied for third in the IL, and a .548 slugging percentage, which is 10th in the league. By the way, IL does stand for International League, in case you didn't pick up on that. Mayer is ranked among baseball's top prospects by MLB.com, number 11, and Baseball America, number 12. In 2024, the left-handed hitter batted .307 with 28 doubles, 8 home runs, 38 RBIs, and 60 runs scored in 77 games with Double-A Portland. He was promoted to Worcester in August, but did not play for the Woo Sox due to a lower back injury. He committed to play at the University of Southern California before being chosen by the Red Sox with the 4th overall selection in the 2021 draft, which was the Red Sox highest draft pick in over 50 years. And I would say they spent it wisely. Mayer, who was born in Chula Vista, California on December 12, 2002, is bilingual, as his parents, who were born in Mexico, have made him really well-versed. So lots of things with Mayer to be excited about. He can do a variety of different things on the field, and I personally can attest from watching him in Worcester that he has a very confident swing, and he records a lot of loud outs. Lots of deep flyouts are big for him. He does strike out, but not at an excessive rate, and he's the type of hitter who is going to make an impact. And even if he does have a game that's a little bit quieter for him, the next game he usually is able to bounce back and have an impactful offensive performance as a whole. I will speak with Marcelo Mayer this week in Worcester, get a sense for how he feels about that honors of getting International League Player of the Week, and ask him about what approach he's taking this year that has worked so well for him. But key to Marcelo Mayer, is he going to be called up soon? That is the big pending question here when it comes to a guy like him and also Roman Anthony, because you have Trevor Story, who's playing shortstop and is actually producing this year, especially at the plate. And it's really hard to justify spending that much money on Trevor Story and the fact that he's a veteran and saying to him, oh, by the way, we don't really want you to play shortstop anymore because we have our shortstop that we think is going to be the shortstop of the future in Marcelo Mayer coming up, so we don't really need you anymore. That would be a huge slap in the face to Trevor Story, and the reasoning for the Red Sox being we have Mayer coming up instead, that's a little bit of a tough look and discouraging on Trevor Story. So I would not be surprised if, even though he's playing really well, the Red Sox keep Marcelo Mayer in AAA for the rest of this season, because especially if they are going for a World Series run this year, they want to have the experienced guys out there. They want to have Trevor Story playing shortstop because he has the experience, and they want him for his defense. One of the best defenders in the sport. You don't really give that up if you're trying to make a playoff run. And as exciting of a player as Marcelo is, I would not be surprised if the Red Sox continue to wait before calling him up. Now, that being said, if Trevor Story or somebody else in the infield faces an injury and they're going to miss an extended period of time, then there could be a chance that Mayer gets called up. But I think the goal with the Red Sox when it comes to both Mayer and Anthony is that when these guys get called up, they're up. They're up to stay. They're not going back down unless they play very poorly to start the season when they do come up. I think the idea is that these guys are the future, and when they come up, they're staying up, similar to with Christian Campbell. He got called up to start the season on the Major League roster, and it wasn't intended to be a temporary thing. It was, this is our second baseman. And when Marcelo Mayer comes up, I think it's going to be, this is our shortstop, presuming that that is where he plays. And with Roman Anthony, same thing when it comes to the outfield. So Marcelo Mayer is having an electric season in AAA right now. Definitely something to note, because we weren't really sure how he was going to come out this season because of the fact that he faced that injury last year and he missed an extended period of time. But he hasn't really skipped a beat. He looks confident out there. He has a great stance when he's at the plate, and he's able to make really loud outs and get on base by making hard contact. That's something that's going to set Marcelo apart moving forward. So congratulations to him. I'll definitely be in touch with him in Worcester this week to talk about how he feels about all of that. But overall, really happy for him. Keep an eye on him moving forward as a player who could be an absolute star for this Red Sox team later on in his career. So lots of things to be excited about when it comes to the Red Sox future. I hope you're here for the ride and you continue to tune into Locked On Red Sox every single day. Thank you for making it your first listen. Be sure to also check out Locked On MLB Game Night, which covers every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. You will not be disappointed. I promise you. You will stay up to date in everything going on with other games around the league as well. So, like I always say, keep the faith, go Red Sox, and I'll catch you on the flip side.